bring the cushion. Yes. चैंटिंग फाइल में जाके थे वैसे मंत्र दाइची दाइनी दाइयन それから最後次のページの最後第1、第2、第4で最後first one, second one, fourth one and the last page. Okay, have you found out? Page 3. ありますか？足の OK ですか？श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम शमनो मित्र शंवरुणः शमनो भवत्वर्यमा शमनो इंद्रो बृहस्पतिः शमनो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वाय त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारम् अवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ओम शांति शांति हरि ओम तच्छंयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवे स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शमनो यस्तु द्विपदे चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णात् पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति हरिः ॐ तत्सत् Let us pray silently for the peace and well-being of ourselves and the whole humanity. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.隣の部屋もエアコン始めました？始めました？あります？ OK。で、後ろも座ることできますか？できますか？ OK。そう、本持ってました？最初英語でケダヒマンシュThis reading from Karma Yoga, just then there are almost just a minute from here, previous stage. From here it will start, and up to this. Up to this. Okay, so half you read, and half Kedar will read. Okay? From here. Just read the title of the book and the author.
Karma Yoga, the Yoga of Action by Swami Vivekananda. Work for work's sake. There are some who are really the salt of the earth in every country and who work for work's sake, who do not care for name or fame or even to go to heaven. They work just because good will come of it. There are others who do good to the poor and help mankind from still higher motives, because they believe in doing good and love good. The motive for name and fame seldom brings immediate results as a rule. They come to us when we are old and have almost done with life. If a man works without any selfish motive in view, does he not gain anything? Yes, he gains the highest. Unselfishness is more paying. Only people have not the patience to practice it. It is more paying from the point of view of health also. Love, truth, and unselfishness are not merely moral figures of speech, but they form our highest ideal, because in them lies such a manifestation of power. In the first place, a man who can work for 5 days or even for 5 minutes without any selfish motive whatever, without thinking of future, of heaven, of punishment, or anything of the kind, has in him the capacity to become a powerful moral giant. It is hard to do it, but in the heart of our hearts, we know its value and the good it brings. It is the greatest manifestation of power. This tremendous restraint, self-restraint, is a manifestation of greater power than all outgoing action.
A carriage with 4 horses may rush down a hill unrestrained, or the coachman may curb the horses. Which is greater manifestation of power, to let them go or to hold them? A cannonball flying through the air goes a long distance and falls. Another is cut short in its flight by striking against a wall, and the impact generates intense heat. All outgoing energy following a selfish motive is frittered away. it will not cause power to return to you. But if restrained, it will result in development of power. This self-control will tend to produce a mighty will, a character which makes a Christ or a Buddha. Foolish men do not know this secret. They nevertheless want to rule mankind. Even a fool may rule a world if he works and waits. Let him wait a few years. Restrain that foolish idea of governing, and when that idea is wholly gone, he will be a power in the world. The majority of us cannot see beyond a few years, just as some animals cannot see beyond a few steps. Just a narrow circle, that is our world. We have not the patience to look beyond, and thus become immoral and wicked. This is our weakness, our powerlessness. Even the lowest forms of work are not to be despised. Let the man who knows no better work for selfish ends, for name and fame. But everyone should always try to get towards higher and higher motives and to understand them. To work we have the right, but not to the fruits thereof. Leave the fruits alone. Why care for results? If you wish to help a man, never think what that man's attitude should be towards you. If you want to do a great or a good work, do not trouble to think what the results will be.
Okay. Noriko-san, Hanbon? Hanbon, Emi-san.それじゃあ、こっちも別の扇風機があった方がいい。別の扇風機があってない。
カルマヨーガ、働きのヨーガ。働きそのもののために働きなさい。どこの国にも本当に地の塩であって、働きのために働く人々、名声にも栄誉にも執着せず、天国に行くことすら考えない人々がいるものです。彼らはただそこから善が現れるから働くのです。また貧しい人々のために良いことをし、さらに高い動機から人類を助けるために働く人々がいます。彼らは善を行うことを信じ、善を愛しているのです。名声を求めて働く場合には、それが直ちに手に入ることは稀です。その人が老い、ほとんど生涯を終える頃にやってきます。もし人が何の利己的な動機も持たないで働いたら、彼は何も得ることはないのでしょう。ないのでしょうか。いいえ、彼は最高のものを手にします。無視の態度はもっと大きな報いを得るのです。ただ人々がそれを実践し続けるだけの忍耐力を持っていないだけです。それは健康という見地から見ても、家宝はもっと豊かです。愛、誠実、非利己性は道徳を形容する単なる言葉ではありません。それらは私たちの最高理想を形成するものです。それらの中に非常な力の現れが潜んでいるのです。まず5日間、いや、たとえ5分間でも、未来のこと、天国のこと、罰のことなど何一つ考えないで、何の利己的動機もなしに働くことのできる人は、やがて強力な道徳的巨人になる能力を持っています。 それを実践することは難しいのですが、心の奥底で私たちはそれの価値とそれがもたらす善を知っています。この巨大な自己抑制は最も偉大な力の表れです。自己抑制は外に向かうすべての活動よりも大きな力の表れです。4頭の馬に引かれた馬車が一人で山の斜面を急降下するとします。または御者がそれを制御するとします。馬を勝手に行かせるのと彼らを押さえつけるのとどちらが大きな力を要するでしょうか。空中を飛ぶ弾丸は長い距離を飛び続けて落下します。もう一つは途中で壁に当たり、その衝撃は強烈な熱を発します。
利己的な動機から生まれて外に出ていくエネルギーはすべて浪費されます。それは自分の方に戻ってくる力とはならないでしょう。しかし、もしそれが制御されると、力を発展させることになるのです。この自己制御が強力な意志、すなわちキリストやブッダとなる人格を生むことになるのです。愚かな人々はこの秘密を知りません。それにもかかわらず、世の中を支配したいと思います。愚かな人でも、もし彼が働き続けるなら、全世界を支配するかもしれませんが、仮に何かを支配しようという愚かな考えを数年間抑制させてください。そのような考えがすっかり消えてしまったとき、彼は世の中の力になるでしょう。私たちの大多数は数年先しか見ることができません。獣たちが数歩先しか見ることができないのと同じです。ごく狭い範囲が私たちの世界なのです。私たちは遠くに目を向けるだけの忍耐を持っていないので、不道徳になり、横島になるのです。それが私たちの弱さ、無力さです。最低の働き方も軽蔑してはいけません。それより良いやり方を知らない人には、利己的な目的や名声のために働かせておきなさい。しかし、誰もが次第に高い動機を選んで、それを理解するように常に努力すべきです。働くことに対しては、私たちは権利を持つ。しかし、そこから生まれた果実に対しては、権利を持たない。果実は放っておきなさい。なぜ結果などを気にするのですか？もし人を助けたいと思うなら、その人の自分に対する態度はどうであるかなどを考えてはいけません。もし偉大な仕事や良い仕事をしたいと思うなら、結果はどうであろうなどと考えて心を悩ませてはいけません。
ありました。 皆さん、おはようございます。Good morning. So, some of you are coming for the first time. So, what's your name? Oh, you gave a call. You also? Oh, you also gave a call. And Sheba, where is your that friend? Oh, okay. So, do you know the topic of today's discourse? 今日の話のテーマは知ってますか？もちろん朝皆さんに連絡しましたから、その方以外他の方を教えてください。Himanshu, do you remember what is this today's topic?
Yeah, I read it on the website.
Himanshu, Kedar?
Yes, same. I also read it at the website.
Good. But the newcomers, what's your name? Rajiv? Aniruddha. So, Aniruddha, have you seen our homepage? What's the theme? Because the schedule is there on homepage. Okay. Today's theme is unselfishness is God. So, Aniruddha's wife, what is your name? Tell me again. Puja.
Yes.
Puja, great. Shiva, you see, there is Puja also. Puja, easy to remember. And what's your name? Kaushika. Kaushita. Oh, Kaushita. What's the meaning of it?
So I was born during Durga Puja.
Mhm.
So from Ma Durga's name Kaushiki,
Yes, Kaushiki.
it has come as Kaushita. My parents named me as Kaushita.
Oh, wow. It's a good association. Holy association. Okay. So, Shiva, what is today's theme?
Unselfishness is God.
It's a very unusual definition of God, isn't it? God is Sat Chid Ananda, that we know. Satchidananda. God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient. We are all aware about this type of definitions, isn't it? But unselfishness is God. Because this is something special of Swamiji, to define God in that way. Unselfishness is God. Unselfish, of course, we know. But how these two are connected, and God also we know, we are aware of this term God. But how to connect this, maybe for many it will be confusing. What's the connection between these two? Well, that's the theme of today's discourse. Is it not too high, I mean, that microphone? Or is it okay?
I think it should be fine. 皆様こんにちは。今日のテーマは、虫は神ですということですが、
Ashish, this is your place. Not at the back. You're the editor of the newsletter, so editor should be. Himanshu, can you little move to this? No, little move. No, don't say you should leave the place. Yes. So that he should be prominent. Yes. So, editor, are you aware of today's topic? Great. Okay. So,
普段より神様、神はブラフマンというのは、サッチタナンダ、 皆さんは認識していますが、無視個人的な利己的な考えがないということが神だと、スワミ・ビベカナンダが、教えましたが、こちらは非常に珍しい、定義ですね。で、無視と神の関係は何ですか？それは今日のテーマです。
You know, kanji, though pronunciation is the same, it means different things. So, because I have not learned kanji, so I generally depend on the pronunciation. That sometimes is a cause of confusion. Now, mushi, another meaning of this particular pronunciation is insect. And this one is unselfishness. That means not me. Mu, this is a prefix used to denote no. So, not. Mu, fu. So, this mu, that means not me. So far I heard about the explanation of this. So, this mu, she is unselfishness, not insect.
You can also say mushi as ignore, Maharaj. Ignore somebody.
To ignore.
No.
Oh, mushi shite kudasai. Yes, that's also there. Just ignore it. Mushi shite kudasai. There.
無視っていうのは日本人でもあんまり使わない気がするんですけど、マハラジが発音で覚えになっているので、
Many foreigners, they also understand it or remember it through their, I mean the English, the pronunciation.
発音だけで読み書きはしないんですが発音で日本語を覚えていらっしゃったので、虫と同音異義というか同じ発音ですけど意味が違うことは、ありますね。例えば虫外の自然のにある虫とかあと人を無視するとか時々混乱します。
Now let us start this topic with a story which is quite famous in Indian scripture. That the story of Dodhichi. I believe you know the story of Dodhichi. Dodhichi Muni. Have you heard the name of Dodhichi Muni?
では、物語から始めたいと思います。ダディチムニを主人公した物語です。
Because he is an example of extreme self-sacrifice.
自己犠牲の、極端な例、いい意味での極端な例です。
Any of you, do you know this story? This Dodichi story?
I have read, but I don't remember.
You don't remember? It's a very famous story of self-sacrifice. So, Puja? True. So what happened? There would be always fighting between the demons and the gods. So sometimes demons will be very powerful, so they will defeat the gods and they will reign the heaven. And sometimes gods will be more powerful and they always take the help of either Durga, Mother Durga, or Vishnu, and then they defeat the demons. Now, one time what happened, the demons defeated the gods. You should mean God means this ordinary gods, not the God, in the highest in the highest meaning. Now, once the demons defeated the gods and became the ruler of the heaven, and the king of the demons' name was Vritrasura. Vritrasura. Now, Vritrasura was almost invincible. Now, when the gods were ousted from the heaven, so then they had sought the help of Vishnu and the great gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. Then they came to know if a great sage or rather I should say, if a weapon is made by the skeleton of a great sage, not ordinary person, then that weapon can kill the king of demon, Vritrasura. Now, the gods were naturally searching for such a great sage who has to die, because with the bones of the sage means unless he dies, how can one can get these bones? So no one would agree. Finally, there's a great sage whose name was Dudhichi. When the gods proposed this, then Dudhichi gladly agreed. Then he gave up his body through samadhi, and with the bones of the great sage Dudhichi, a weapon was made which is known as Vajra, the thunder. Thunder. And with that, by throwing that thunder, the Vritrasura was killed. So here is an example of extreme self-sacrifice, isn't it? To give up one's body for other people, not for himself, not for his family. So this is an example of Indian scripture, very famous example, which is an illustration of extreme self-sacrifice.
この、ダディーチという聖者の物語は、少し、背景について話す必要があります。いつもインドの、神話の中では、アシュラたちと神々が戦っています。で、時々神々が勝ったりするんですが、時々、アシュラたちが勝ちます。で、一回はアシュラが勝ちましたので、天国を支配することになりました。その時に、ブリッタシュラ王、アシュラの王になりました。で、彼は非常に強くてほぼ無敵でした。で、神々全員天国から追放されましたので、ビシュヌ、ブラフマ、マヘシバラのところに行って助けてくださいと、頼みました。そうしますと、もしある偉大な聖者の骨から武器を作ると、そのアシュラを殺すことができると言われました。そして、いろんなところを探して誰か自分の命を犠牲にして、骨を貸してくれて武器を作る、をいろんな人に聞きましたけれども、誰も同意しませんでした。やがて第一、ダディーチ、ごめんなさい、ダディーチ聖者のところにたどり着いて、彼は喜んで同意しました。で、サマディで体から魂を抜いて、でその骨を取ってバジラ、雷電の武器を作って、それをブリッタシュラの上に落としたら、彼が亡くなりました。でこれは自分を犠牲にする、非常に有名な例です。
Now, let us come to this topic. First, let us see what is selfishness. So, how will you define selfishness? What are the symptoms of selfishness? Let me hear from you. Ashish?
今の質問、利己的というのは何ですか？
これ印は何ですか？
It seems selfishness is more like a gradient. Everybody has some bit of it. But sometimes you go more towards extreme selfishness when you don't care about other people or don't respond to goodness which comes from them, and you just think about your own self. So then you go towards more selfishness. So it seems everybody has some. To be alive, you have to be selfish. So some amount of selfishness is needed just to remain alive also. So you kill insects and germs and sorry. So just to be alive also you need to be selfish because you have to kill germs and whatever to remain alive. But extreme forms of selfishness are when human beings are trying to be nice to you and you don't respond well.
But when, for example, just for living, we have to earn money and we spend for that, can we call it selfishness?
No, of course not, Maharaj. That is duty that if a person...
So it does not fall in the category of selfishness.
If you're working and if you're not being immoral and if you're earning money in a moral way by hard work, that surely is not selfishness, Maharaj.
It's a natural
Yes,
responsibility and duty.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not selfishness.
I don't think so, Maharaj.
Yes. Now, what is the center of this selfishness?
Center is self-love, maybe. You love yourself more than you love being moral or being good or being good to others.
Selfishness is the center of selfishness?
No, your own self, your own ego or your own mind. Or
Yes, go on. Mind, then?
impure. Your mind is the center of selfishness, your own ego or mind.
Achha, okay. Any other? Kedar, can you add something?
Doing something with by having some expectations, that is selfishness. You are expecting some results out of it, and to get that results, you are doing something. So, for example, working in the office, you are expecting monetary benefit. So, just because you're getting paid, you work. That is a form of selfishness.
Okay. Now, of course, there may be many more suggestions or opinions, but because of the time limit, we cannot afford to ask other attendees also. So, basically, if we put in that way, that means selfishness, the center of selfishness is myself and my family. So, do you agree? Do you accept this? So, not only myself, but also my family. And this myself is mainly body and mind, because there is also Atman, self in us. It's not related to it surely. So this selfishness is related to our body and mind, the small s, not the capital S. When it is self, Atman, then it's a capital S, self, A-C-L-F. But when it is a small related to my body and mind, then it becomes starts the self with small s. You understand that? Self and self. Now, the center of selfishness is one's body and mind, the little I, the ignorant I, the unripe I, the immature I, and the symptoms of selfishness that I shall explain. First, let him interpret.
で2名様が、利己的とは何ですかの意見を伺いました。まずは例えば皆さんはある程度の利己的な、傾向がありますが、自分のことだけあるいは自分の心、自分のことだけを考えるとそれは利己的の一つの意見でした。もう一つの意見は、何らかの見返りを期待して仕事をするとき、例えば金銭的な報酬を期待して仕事をすること。でマハラジは、根本的に利己的というのは、自分と自分の家族のことです。で自分のことを考えると自分の体と自分の心です。魂はそれと違うのでここに入っていません。その利己的な自分というのは小さい私、無知な私、未熟な私です。非利己的な自己は偉大な私となります。
And the symptoms of selfishness, if we put in that way, see how it is acceptable to you. When one, just listen carefully, when one spends his time, energy and money, these three important things that we have, which belong to us: time, money and energy. When these three most important factors with which we live, or by which we live, or with the help of which we live, are used only for oneself and only for one's family, then these are the symptoms of selfishness. Do you get my point? When all my energy, all my time, all my money are spent only for myself and my family, then this may be called the symptoms of selfishness. Can it be a criteria with which you can understand? What are the symptoms of selfishness? Okay.
その利己的な、利己的というものの、特徴は自分のすべての時間、エネルギーとお金を自分と自分の家族だけのために使うことです。
That means how I and my family can live well. That's the purpose. And these people have no feelings, no compassion for others people. These people want from others, but rarely they think to give something back or help others. They want help from others, but they are reluctant to help others. Even if they have lots of articles, they don't want to share it with anyone. Even if the food is wasted, if the clothes are becoming old and old, still they don't want to part with them. Their focus is always accumulation. These are all the symptoms of selfishness.
このような人たちは自分と自分の家族だけのことを考えて、自分たちはどのようによりよく生活ができるのかいつも考えています。人に助けられたいが人を助けたくない。 食事が余っても洋服が余ってもそれが無駄になっても他の人と共有したくない、溜め込むことが一番、中心になっています。
Now, unfortunately, among all beings, human beings are most selfish. What's your opinion about it? Among all the beings, there are animal beings, and then also trees and plants have some life. Among all these human beings are most, in general, exceptions are surely there, average human beings are very selfish. Have you thought about it? Have you at all compared this thing, this level of selfishness of ourselves and the animal beings or other animate? Huh? Have you? Okay.
すべての生き物の中に、一番利己的なのは人間です。皆さんこれについて考えたことがありますか？すべての生き物、例えば植物や動物とか、どちらが一番利己的ですか？
What do you say? Have you compared any time this selfishness level? For example, tell me.
No, I mean, let's say there are needs for our survival that animals also have, plants also have. But once their need is fulfilled, they will stop. They have no mechanism to accumulate also actually. But human beings, because we have this intelligence, we use it then also to accumulate. Because we know we will be hungry again and forever till we live. So we tend to accumulate them.
Now, to be simple, or to understand in a more simple way, think how many, every day, how many fishes, how many chickens, how many cows, how many buta?
Pork?
Pigs are sacrificing their life. Of course, Indians do not eat beef or pork, but as you know, in Japan, or in other Western countries, so can you imagine every day millions and millions of fish, cows, chickens, pigs are sacrificing their lives just for the consumption of the human beings? Have you at all thought about it? What do you say? Even if you have not thought before, just now you try to think about it. Try to imagine. You cannot count it. But it's a fact. It's a hard fact. Yes, we are using them as their food, so they have to sacrifice their lives. But they may have their justification of their own existence. But do you think from their point of view? We just see from our point of view. We want to use them as food, and we are doing it without thinking that in the theme of creation there's a justification of their own existence and survival. Surely you don't think?
例えば、私たちは毎日 食べるために何千万匹の魚、牛、チキン、豚を犠牲しています。想像してみれば数えられないほど多くの動物を殺して食べています。で私たちは当然私たちのために、殺してはいいと思ってるんですが、動物のためにもそれなりの存在の理由があるはずですが、私たちがそれを考えないでただ自分のために殺して食べています。
Now, if the tiger says to us, okay, for our food you sacrifice your life, will you agree? Tigers and lions, if they tell us, okay, we want you as our food, so sacrifice your life. Then what will be our reaction? Tell us.
もしトラやライオンが近くに来て、ではあなたは私たちの餌になってくださいって言われたら同意しますか？
We'll shoot them.
同意しない。
We'll just shoot, kill them. So that is our response.
私たちの返事は殺す。逆に彼らを殺すこと。
Then think of the trees, fruits, flowers, vegetables. Do the tree eat themselves their fruits? Have you seen any mango tree? In the dead of night, they are eating their own fruit, mango. Have you seen? Have you seen any mango tree eating secretly their own fruit? No. So all the trees, all the plants, all the vegetables, they are just giving and giving and giving. Even think of the trees, they are shades, oxygen. So when one is tired, they go under the shade of a tree, in the shade of a tree, and then they sit, they feel relaxed. Then for oxygen, these plants are so important, isn't it? So in that way they help us. But on the other hand, the human beings, those who serve us in so many ways, what we do in response, we cut them. We cut the trees. Deforestation. And then we fall in trouble. So, if we understand in that way, don't we come to this conclusion that it's a human beings which are very unselfish, which are very selfish in comparison with the other beings? What do you say? Do you agree or no? どうですか皆さん？どうぞ話します。
そして例えば木のことを考えましょう。木は、果物、花、野菜をいつも私たちに与えてくださっています。例えば真夜中に誰も見てないときにマンゴーの木は自分の果物を食べていることを見たことありますか？ないでしょう。与えるだけのために存在する。それだけでなく木陰もあります。疲れたときに木の下に座って休むこともできます。さらに私たちのためにも酸素を作ってくれますが、私たちは、の恩返しというのは伐採全然恩返しになってないんですが、そう伐採して森を破壊しています。どうですか？
But there are few examples of extremely unselfish people. As I said, give the example of Dadiji. Then in Bengal, who was very famous for his compassion? Tell me the name. In Bengal, So some Bengalis are here. Can you tell me the name? Was very famous for his compassion. রামকৃষ্ণ ঠিক ওই কারণে তোকে বলা হয় না। It's very common. If I say immediately say, তুমি তো no, but I am looking at them, not to you. So obviously, Ishwarchandra, so the present generation, they don't have heard the name of Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar? Or no? Have you? No, I will not be surprised if you don't have heard the name. So because that's sometimes the situation of that. Rarely we are now becoming aware and conscious of our own tradition and great people. So at least Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar's name you heard. And didn't you know that he was great Dayar Sagar? Vidyasagar Dayar Sagar. Have you not heard that? Heard about it? So even some non-Bengalis also have heard the name of Ishwar Vidyasagar, especially those who have read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna Ashish. There is a chapter, very important chapter of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna's meeting with Vidyasagar. Very important chapter of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Wonderful discussions Sri Ramakrishna gave. Had wonderful conversations with him. Anyway, so people are there in every nation, in every country, but are not those people very rare? What do you say? Are those people are common or uncommon? Very uncommon. Most of the people we see selfish. As I told, criteria is spending our time and energy, our money, our all resources just for myself and my family. Finished. Then what are the consequences of this unselfishness? You know, their life is naturally become very narrow-minded people. And they are extremely attached to their own body and mind and to their family. And as a result, when there is attachment gives birth to many sufferings, expectations, frustration, stress, and the family member is trying very hard to please the other members of family. But when the frustration comes, they say, even if they try to please their husband or wife or the children, it's very difficult to please them. Then the frustration comes. So, this is the consequence of being selfish. Not only that, fear is there, fear of separation, fear of loss. You understand what I mean? Of family members or with whom we are attached. Then stress is there, a lot of stress. And this stress affect our mental health and physical health. And finally, there is lack of peace. So the consequences of being selfish is very negative. And then now the next question is, okay, no.
ほとんどの人が利己的ではありますが、もちろん例外もあります。例えばベンガル、地方ではビティア・シャゴール、スリラーマクリスタの福音書に、登場する人物でもありますが、 彼は非常に、心が広くて、博愛主義者でした。では、利己的になるとどういうことが起こるか。まずは自分の人生は非常に狭くなる。自分と自分の家族しか考えられない。そして自分の体と心と自分の家族に非常に執着してしまう。結果としてたくさんの期待を込めて、満足されないストレスを感じます。家族を喜ばせたくてもなかなか喜ばせないので挫折してしまいます。そして彼らとの離別、死別への恐れもあります。こういった、心の態度を持つことでストレスが生じて心身に悪い影響を与えてしまいます。
Now, no one naturally wants this type of consequences. This type of consequences are definitely not wanted. So, what should be the remedy now? Ashish? What should be the remedy?
Remedy is more mature outlook or more generous outlook. You help others, you help yourself. But I think it puts family also, right? That's also part of the duty. So we can help ourselves, our family, help others as much as we can.
Okay, the simple answer is to remedy selfishness, we should become unselfish. Isn't it? And this is a simple answer. Because we are now selfish, so if we want to remedy it, we have to practice unselfishness. This is the simplest answer and easy to understand. What do you say? Is it any complicated answer is necessary? But now, first, okay.
では、この悪影響をどういうふうに抵抗するか、どういう対策を取ることができるんですか。一番簡単な答えは、非利己的になることです。
Now, first, we should be aware what is the level of selfishness. You see, to remedy it, first we should know how much selfish we are. And the criteria you told already. There's the time, energy, money, resources. How much we spend just for us, or do we spend any part of it for others, non-related people? This we can understand through introspection, isn't it? Because other person is not expected to understand this and know our situation. So it is we who have to understand it, the level of our selfishness, through introspection. Kedar, isn't it? So you should deeply ponder, and criteria already we know. What is the level of our, so that if you want to remedy it, you should know what is our position, what is our situation now. First of all, this introspection, be aware of the level of your selfishness.
では、まずは、先ほど、利己的な人の印が、時間、エネルギーとお金を全部自分と自分の家族のために費やしていることです。で、自分がどのぐらいそれに当てはまるかを反省して分かります。
Now the second point is practicing unselfishness. Now in our Vedanta lectures, we always give emphasis on practice. Because however you talk about unselfishness, however you read interesting stories of unselfishness, will it make you unselfish? Will you? Just by listening and reading? So we always give emphasis on this point. Those who have come here, So they come to this place for listening talks, for not just intellectual joy, intellectual enjoyment. They want something from this type of Vedanta talks which will help them in their life. So this is my question. Suppose we'll discuss some suggestions how to become unselfish. Are you ready to practice at least something of this? Or if none of you are interested, then let me stop here. And we'll be waiting for the lunch, which will be 12:30, and break the session here. What do you say? Are you ready? Any huh? Puja? What do you think? Are you ready to do some practice? But for that, should you seek permission from Aniruddha?
He always giving this permission.
Huh?
He always giving this type of permission.
Is it?
Yes.
Great. So, because we can do practice it on our own level, other persons are not much related to it. So, in our own level, how much we can practice. So, listen to this talk with this type of receptivity, not just passing some time and coming Vedanta Kyokai. It's good that you come here in the holy atmosphere, but most important thing of this, what I can really gather, what really can help me. If I am the same person when I go to this temple and listen to this talk, if I remain the same person, even after hearing it, after visiting it, it's useless. So remember it. So I am trying to share some of my ideas about this practice with the hope that at least you will be practicing a little of what I say. Am I clear to you? Huh? OK、はい。皆さんどうですか？どうぞ日本語で言ってください。
私たちのこの話は特にベダンタ、哲学においては実践を重視しています。非利己的になることについて話したり、もうそういった物語を読んだりしたとしても非利己的になるわけではないですね。なのでこちらの今日の話を、知的な幸せ、喜び、美レイクだけを聞くのために終わってほしくない。そのために実践の覚悟が必要ですが、皆様覚悟していますか？
どうですか？大丈夫そしてthen we should also consider another thing. Why there is a general trend of being selfish? It's a very pertinent question. Why most of the people, we generally, there's a trend is this, as I say, trendy. The trend is to become selfish, not unselfish. What's the very basic reason?
どうして利己的になるのは流行ってるんですか？いつも流行ってるんですけど。
Ashish, can you give any reply? You told something before.
Trend means recently is increasing compared to before, or
It's a human nature from the almost the beginning, but maybe more and more now. But why I say what is the basic reason of it? That people in general become selfish. Okay, the simple answer is it's a law of nature, self-preservation. Because we want to preserve ourselves, we want to live. And if there is no motivation to live, then the world will not continue. isn't it? So, in one way, we are serving the purpose of God who wants to continue His creation. So, obviously, if there is some sort of trained, basic, this type of desire is not us, that we want to preserve ourselves, we have to maintain ourselves, our family, then it cannot continue like that. The world will not continue, isn't it? So there is a basic law, natural law, that we want to preserve ourselves. We want to survive because that's necessary for our survival. So, what do you say? Huh? Ashish? Huh?
Yes, Maharaj, it seems God created the world with unselfish people and then the world finished. So the story is like that. So mankind, he creates the world and good people are good, the world comes to an end. So then
No, okay, now just maybe their story, but just
then he makes people selfish so the world can continue.
okay. So that is a not only secular minded. It's called secular minded, secular and spiritual. Anyway, so just think of the nature. So it's a law of nature, but at the same time, there it is also a law of nature that it will continue if we follow the rule of giving and taking. If we only take, if we don't give, do you think the world can continue? In that case also we will not continue. Do you understand my point? If we think only in terms of taking, not giving at all, then it will not continue. That's also law of nature. Giving and taking, we say mutual giving and taking. It's very common parlance, giving and taking, this word. So that's also natural law. So why do you forget about that? Yes, I understand to some extent, of course, for the self-preservation it is necessary to spend some time, some energy, or resources for our survival. But if we spend all the time, all the energy, all the money, then what's about this giving? That's another basic question related to it. Do you appreciate my point, what I say? It's also law. It's also law of nature.
では、なぜ皆さんはある程度利己的になっているでしょうか。それは、視線の法則の一つです。自分を守らないという気持ちがないとこの世が終わってしまいますので、神様がこの世界、救った世界を存続させるために私たちの中にその自分を守りたい願いを吹き込まれました。が私たちがもらうだけにするとこの世も滅びる。これも一つの自然の法則。もらって与えるとバランスが取れてこの世もつきますが、自分のことだけを考えてもらうだけでこの世が長く続かない。これは皆様どう思いますか？
You see, we think we have money, so we go to shop, purchase the food. But have we tried to understand how many people are involved to make our food? See, for example, the plants, vegetables, and the rice. Can we do it? Or how many people are needed? Clothes, house, furnitures, food, medicine. So, are we not getting the service of so many people, as a result of which we can continue our life smoothly? That's why there's a very famous statement of Albert Einstein. I am not sure whether you heard about this particular statement of Einstein. He says, hundreds of times I remind myself, mark this each words, more or less this like that. There might be a little slight change also in our actual statement, actually saying, hundreds of times I remind myself that my life depends on the services of thousands of people. And then how I can think, then I think, how can I return the services in some way or other? So you could understand the point? So I remind myself every day that my life depends on the services of so many people. So I at the same time think that how and in what way I should also return that service. So I think from the internet also you can find that statement hundreds of times. You can find out? Huh?
I will check on it.
Okay, so now we translate. So this is a very, very relevant statement regarding this
例えば
practice of giving back.
私たちがお金を持ってスーパーで買い物をしますが、スーパーに買う食べ物がそこにあるためにどれぐらいの努力と人と生き物が関わってきたのかをよく考えたことはありますか？例えば目牛のミルクとか肉とか野菜、ご飯の、稲のカスとか、あと洋服、私たちが暮らしている環境を整えるための洋服とか、家具、薬などたくさんの人の努力のおかげで私たちがそれをいただいてスムーズに生活ができます。これと関連するアインシュタインの、格言があります。それは、一日中、100回も私の、人生が他人の、恩恵によって出来上がるということを思い出させています。そして自分がどのように恩返しできるのかをいつも考えています。
Have you found out? Well, the statement is this: 100 times, this is the exact quotation, 100 times every day I remind myself that my inner and outer life depend on the labors of other men, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. I rather would suggest, please write this quotation. You can easily find out. It starts with 100 times every day, Albert Einstein. So if you search that through the internet, you easily can find out. So write it down and read it sometimes. That will help us to remind that the necessity of giving back, so that the balance of life can be maintained. Okay, thank you. Did you know about it? Okay.
What should I translate?
Okay, almost. So I think already you translated, so more or less the same. Then the devotees, what they will think? Now I am talking from the law of nature to spiritual law. A devotee, what he thinks, that is Ishta, chosen deity, is everywhere and in everyone, animate, inanimate. Yatra jiva tatra shiva. Jale Krishna, sthale Krishna, Krishna parvata mastake. The God is all pervading. He is omnipresent. So in everything He is there. That's why the distressed people, the sick people, the poor people, the troubled people, God is also in them. So we should serve them. Because as I am a devotee and I see my Lord in sick persons, in the afflicted persons is suffering, so as a devotee, I should serve them. That's why Swamiji is calling this word Daridra Narayana. Have you heard this word? Murkha Narayana. And wanted to serve them. And that is how he wanted to materialize Sri Ramakrishna's the great advice, Shiva Gyane. What? Next, you know? Yes. Thank you, Aniruddha. Shiva Gyane Jiva Seva. So from a devotee's point of view, the conclusion is this, and this is also a question of giving without expecting anything in return. Shiva Gyane Jiva Seva. So from a devotee's point of view, this will be the conclusion. This is how we will do. Not worshipping or offering food only to the God on the altar. Because the God in the photo is imaginary. As Sri Ramakrishna said, Paroksha Devata. But God in the sick people, God in the poor people, God in the hungry people, Prataksha Devata. You know, he coined these two words, Prataksha Devata and Paroksha Devata. So God in picture, God in image is Paroksha Devata. You have to imagine God is there. But the Prataksha Devata, for that the imagination is not necessary. God is living in them. So looking upon them as God, as Shiva, serve them. That is what Swamiji advised us. So this is how we practice unselfishness. Himanshu, can you move a little forward? Ushiro kara. Ashish? Okay. Take the cushion. So, okay, now you translate.
信者にとって自分の決めた神様イシタはどこにでもいつでも、増します、生きているものと無機のものにも、存在します、そうすると苦しんでいる人、病気の人、困った人を助けてあげるのはその中に住んでいる神様を助けてあげるという考え方です。そのためにスワミジが、デリティナラヤン、ムルタナラヤン、
ダリドラナラヤン、
ム
ールカナラヤン、like that.
What does it mean?
Daridra means poor,
Poor.
and Murkha means ignorant.
Oh.
They are also Narayanas.
貧しい神様と無知の神様を助けあげます。あと、シバギャネジワシバ。What does it mean?
Looking upon a human being as the veritable manifestation of Shiva to serve him.
人、つまりジバをシバとみなして、もてなしをする、お世話する、なので私たちが、供え物をするだけではなく、例えば写真は 私たちがそこに神様がいることを想像しないといけないので、パラクシャ、
パロクシャ、
ポロクシャ、
インダイレクト。
そう、間接的に神様がそこにいるのを想像しないといけないんですけれども、先ほど、申し上げた苦しんでいる人、無知な人を助けてあげるときに何も想像しなくても目の前にいらっしゃるので、プラタクシャ、
デーバタ。
デーバタ、権限された、現れた神ということになります。
Now, as I say, spiritual point of view, so is a devotees. The Gyan is also spiritual. But what the Gyan is, because they don't believe in God, in the form of God. So how they say, their thought is from the point of Atman. The Atman is all pervading, isn't it? The same Atman pervades everywhere. So they think, because the same Atman which is in me is also in the afflicted person. So when I am in trouble, so I try to remedy that. So when the same Atman is in another person, troubled person, afflicted person, then I should also help them so that they can remedy that situation. So there is a Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse. Yes, Dibbanathananda, Atmopammena, what is that? First part is okay. Atmopammena sarvatra samang pashyati. Arjuna sayogi paramo mataha. So who is the greatest yogi? You see, the translation is of this. Who is the greatest yogi? There are yogis. There are levels of yogis. So the greatest level of the yogi who is in the highest level, who has attained the highest level, who has reached the highest level. What type of yogi has reached that highest level? Then he says, Atmopamena. Just when you are happy, when you are unhappy, when you look upon others' happiness and unhappiness as yours, such a yogi who looks upon others' happiness and unhappiness as their own, that type of yogi has attained the highest state. Roksho Sanjuni Gita. 向こうって本ありますから、早いですから。読んでください。6章のバガバッドギター6章の32。It is not say nirvikalpa samadhi, savikalpa samadhi, nothing. It's just, this is the criteria. どうぞ。
はい、バガバットギーターの6章の32節です。すべては我が身の上のこととして他者の引きも我が引きなりと考え、あらゆる生物を自己と等しく見る人こそ最高のヨーギーなのだ。アルジュナよと。
So you see, so this is a Jnani's attitude. So even if a Jnani also has this type of great compassion, because he sees the same Atman lives in others. Okay.
先ほどの例は、バクタの例でした。ギャニの場合は、アートマンはあまねく、偏在する。なので自分と他人もすべてアートマンです。それを見て、お世話する。で、ギターの6章32節、先ほどシャンティが朗読したんですが、一番偉大なヨギのいくつかの段階がありまして、最高のヨギは、他人の喜びと苦しみを自分の喜びと苦しみを、 見るということです。ここはニルビカルパサマディ、サビカルパサマディの話がありません。ただ他の人と同調することです。
見るだけで it's not just seeing, but try to help them. Otherwise just see, what does it mean? I just see, I just feel. So this type of honesty is expressed through some action. What does it just mean by feeling happiness or unhappiness? I am feeling very sad that you are in that condition, but I have something in my power to help you. Without helping, just in words or in thoughts, does it mean anything? I am compassionate. If I have compassion, I shall try to help. So that's why this Bhagavad Gita you should understand in that way. That means when he feels means, he also tries to help others, serve others. That's why I say the realized souls, they have no vrittis. Chitta vritti, in Patanjali Chitta vritti nirodha. So we have so many vrittis, mental waves. So for a realized soul, there is no such vritti. Already, but in our case, so many vrittis of anger, waves of anger, waves of hatred, waves of desire are appearing in our mind. But for yogis, these waves are all still, calm and quiet. But they have only one vritti. That's very important. What is that vritti? Compassion. See? So, they are free from all the vrittis, but only one vritti they still retain, or I should say they have it, continue. That's a compassion. Feeling for others. And not only feeling, helping others as much as possible. And the greatest example is Lord Buddha. Okay.
では、人に同調するだけでは足りません。先のギーターの説を読んで、他の人の苦しみは自分の苦しみ、幸せは自分の幸せと考えるだけでは、足りません。人が困りましたら、もし自分が何か、してあげることができればしてあげなさい。そういう意味です。なので、実践が大事です。パタンジャリヨガストラの、チッタブリッティニローダハがございますが、悟った人はチッタブリッティ、例えば怒り、憎しみ、欲望のブリッティ、心の波がありませんが、一つだけが残ります。それは慈悲の、志です。一番、これを実践した一番偉大な方は仏様であると考えられます。
Today when we read from Karma Yoga, so there we read, there's one portion in that book of Karma Yoga that he said, Swamiji, unselfishness is more paying. Only people have no patience to practice it. So why he said like that? That to get the result of practicing unselfishness, it needs time. Suddenly you cannot get it. For that you should have patience. And what is the result of being unselfish? We have, before we described what are the consequences of selfishness. We told already. Expectation, attachment, frustration, lack of peace. So if we become unselfish, then what will be the results? Results, there will be we shall be free from stress, frustration, fear, anxiety, and you will get peace and joy. So that's the result. If by becoming selfish, there is no mental peace. So by becoming unselfish, we get mental peace, which is most important. Not only that, the greater result is that by becoming unselfish, we get rid of our ego. Because as I told you, that the center of our selfishness is our ego. That means, and that is related to body and mind. And that ego is the greatest obstacle to our peace and joy. This ego. That ego is the greatest obstacle to our realization of God. So in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in other scriptures, they say always, get rid of your ego, aham. And this ego is, remember, that ego is centered on this body and mind, which is conditioned by time and space. But we have to replace it by the higher ego, that is Atman. So the focus of that ego is not body and mind, but that focus of the higher ego, greater ego, wise ego, ripe ego is Atman. So more and more, if we become unselfish, our mind becomes more and more free from this unripe ego, unclean ego. Or on the other words, our ego will be more clean, our mind will be more clean. And in that clean ego, in that clean mind, as in the clean mirror, the reflection of sun will be perfect, isn't it? We get a clear reflection of sun. In the same way, if our mind is clean, if our buddhi is clean, if our ego is clean, that in that clean ego will reflect the Atman. But certainly it needs a lot of practice, certainly needs time, certainly needs patience. That's why Swamiji said, unselfishness is more paying. Only people have no patience to practice it. If we patiently practice it, then it has a great results.
今日のカルマヨガの、読んだところには、利己的な行動をするよりも非利己的な行動を取った方が長期間的に考えるとその結果が大きいですが、人がその結果を待つ忍耐力がありません。その結果というのは、利己的な人になった時の悪い影響を取り除くことができることです。例えば心の平安、無執着、ストレスがない、恐れを知らない、不安、心配がない、そして喜びに、満たされた状態です。すべての、聖典や聖者はこの小さいエゴを取り除きなさいと言います。それは神様を悟るための一番大きな障壁です。このエゴ、アハンは要するに体と心です。時間と空間に限定された体と心です。それに代わって、知恵のある私、成熟な私、偉大な私、つまり、アートマンに、アートマンに中心を置いた、エゴへと変えてください。そうしますと自分の汚いエゴを取り除くことができます。まるで 鏡をきれいにして、きちんとその太陽の反射を、太陽を反射することができると同じように、自分の心をきれいにするとアートマンをきれいに反射することができます。やはりこちらは実践するために実践と時間と忍耐力が必要です。
This session I shall close with a question to you. Two types of persons. One type of person is a great devotee, spends long time in meditation, repeating the name of God, visiting holy places, but extremely selfish. Even if you see a person who is in trouble, he will not care for him. All, as I already told you, he spends all his resources just for his and his family. So this is one type of people. Devotee, but extremely selfish. Another type of people do not believe in God, but extremely unselfish. He goes out of his way to help others without caring for that how much price he has to pay. Now my question is, which of these two types of people, which type of people you think is greater? So that's my question. So let it be interpreted in Japanese, then I shall ask you to raise your hand. Let me see to which side you give cast your vote.
では、質問ですが、2種類の人がいます。1人が、偉大な信者で一日中瞑想したりジャパを繰り返したりします。巡礼地にもあちこちに行っていますが、困った人を見たときに助けはしません。自分のすべての財産やお金、時間を自分の家族のためだけに使っています。もう一つの種類の人が神様を信じません。ですが、非常に非利己的な人、利他性が強い人で、自分がどんなに、大変であっても他人を助けてあげます。どちらか、You're going to ask?
Yes, of course. I shall. Now I shall ask now. So, わかります？私質問。So we want to know from you of these two types, which type is greater? So you raise your hand. The type 1. Type 1, I told you type 1, 覚えてますか？
第一の人が一番いいですか？あるいは2番目。今は第一の人が一番いいです。
それでもし私の考えでそれが一番いい。手を挙げてください。None is there? It's a devotee. Long time doing meditation.
Okay. No, I'll raise for the first. I'll be compassionate to the first one first.
Okay, then second type. Second type. Okay, I shall tell you a very interesting story in the second session about that.
No, but I have a question, Maharaj.
What?
For how long this condition?
How long means?
Because
now I am not talking of that type who is a devotee at the same time, who helps others. So I am not talking of that type.
No, what I'm meaning,
Yeah.
this is a great devotee who goes to pilgrimage and does meditation, but he doesn't help other people.
Selfish. So I
Yes.
say selfish.
But that's all his life?
So don't think in that terms.
No, because the worldly man, the
Yeah.
person that doesn't believe in God, although he's very unselfish, because maybe he has no, I don't know, higher ideal, maybe he can fall, Maharaj.
See, if he's really doing that, then as I said, his mind will become clean. So that is karma yoga. Karma yoga is not essential to believe in God. Even without faith in God, you can practice karma yoga. That's the answer. So I'll tell you the story, and the next session we shall discuss also what are the different ways that we can help others. That's also very interesting. Lord Buddha's suggestions there. So that we shall discuss. And finally we shall end at least what are the ways that we can help others. Without going too much, without maybe sacrificing everything what we have, not to that extent, but at least what in our level, in our present condition, at least what we can, how we can help others. So with this, that will be the content of our post-lunch session. So here we finish our pre-lunch session. Thank you so much. Okay, Leo, thank you.
午後も続きます。午後は、物語と仏様の、アドバイス、どのように私たちが他人を助けることができると、実践について話します。
Okay. So let's go for lunch for start.